I'm Jessica Anne Pressler, and you've tuned into Your Traitor Within, a podcast that exposes the brutal truths of healing, self-discovery, and breaking free from relentless patterns of self-sabotage. Today's guest, Kiki Mullican, brings more than 2 decades of experience in mental health, human services, and in community support alongside credentials as a certified neuroscience coach and a BA in psychology that not only began in a classroom, but in a library, a curious child reaching for books to help her make sense of the world around her. That early hunger to understand people and patterns shaped a remarkable career spanning counseling, case management, suicide prevention, and serving as a volunteer VP of operations for Baltimore nonprofit Walking Along People Navigating Homelessness, Addiction, and Life After Incarceration. She is also a proud U.S. Army veteran. Thank you for your service.
It was my pleasure.
What makes Kiki's voice so rare and so resonant is that her professional knowledge and her lived experience are completely inseparable. She has spent years not only helping others recognize childhood conditioning, toxic family systems, and survival strategies we carry into adulthood, she has navigated all of it herself. Her approach cuts through clinical language and meets people exactly where they are, which is why her audience, and now ours, feels so deeply seen. And today, Kiki is going to share her knowledge, her journey, and her Traitor Within story. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to have this conversation, finally.
Thank you for being ahead of time for your vulnerability as you tell your story. And I want to say, because I know that I had mentioned, because you told me about your curiosity starting in a library. You are sitting in a library today, right?
I am. The library is one of my safe places.
I get that, actually.
It really is. Librarians are always helpful,
Mm-hmm.
and the books are always there and they're comforting. And the library is a safe place.
And I've heard people talk about books being a safe place, maybe not a library, but that they get absorbed in a book when crazy can happen around them. It's the one
Mhm.
place where they can go and maybe go to, I don't know, fly away to fairyland. I don't know, something
Yes,
somewhere else
yes,
other than what's really going on in the world around them.
yes, exactly. And
Also,
I got so lucky because now I can't always just come to the library. It's difficult with agoraphobia.
yes.
But like you said, I started in elementary school,
Mhm.
going to the library, going to the public library in Baltimore, and just reading psychology books that I fully did not understand
Mhm.
because I thought I could help people. I thought I could help the people in my family.
So it starts off with the curiosity, or actually, I take it back. It starts off with the desire to help, and then the curiosity, and even staying with something that you said was a little bit, difficult to understand. You still stayed with it.
Oh, yeah, I tried hard to understand it. I read books like Sybil,
Uh,
but I also read books like Freud's Theories, and again, elementary school.
and by the way, that's even difficult to understand at any stage.
Yes,
Freud's theories. The
exactly,
appearance of
exactly.
right of Freud's theories.
Now, to be fair, I did get bused to a better school in Baltimore because I was a little more intelligent. So maybe I understood a little more than the average elementary
Mhm.
school child, but not enough. And I didn't understand that the knowledge was not going to fix my family. And
Uh,
that was my goal, was to show them, here
mhm.
it is in black and white. And if we make these changes, then everything will be okay now.
Well, I can say because I know you're a clinician too, and we're both clinicians, that we want to wave that magic, at least I do, that magic
Mm-hmm.
wand. We understand it now. So if we just do that, then everything will be okay. And
Yes,
as you know, even as a clinician, we can't change another person unless they want to.
I know. And it's so hard. It's such a hard lesson to learn. I learn it often
Mhm.
still.
Mhm.
Well, not that often anymore, but over my life, I've learned it often. And it's just like, it's the best of intentions. You think, well, if I just make them aware,
Right.
then they won't want to do that. They wouldn't want to hurt another person or, whatever the case may be. And like you said, if they're not ready to see that within themselves or to do the hard work to make changes,
Mhm.
you become the villain.
Right. Well, they have their traitor within. They have that
Yes.
shell around them that they,
Yes.
which means they're not going to see the truth. They can't
Exactly.
tolerate their own truth.
And that's exactly it. They can't tolerate that.
Mhm.
And their coping skills that they learned from their trauma was throw it at somebody else. Throw it
Right.
away from me. I can't feel that.
Mm-hmm.
And while I'm not excusing it,
Mm-hmm.
there are explanations. Things come from somewhere.
Right. So, since we're on the traitor within, I'm just going to mention that for a little bit. The way
Sure.
they acted is because they had their traitor within and they have their story and they have whatever happened with their families, because I do believe a lot of it starts in your childhood.
Absolutely.
Right. And
Absolutely.
so, right. So just like I would say to you when we start talking about the traitor within, that I would want you to have compassion toward that traitor within. We can have compassion toward theirs, but, and I'm very clear with this, it doesn't mean the way they acted toward you or anyone else is okay. It doesn't excuse their behavior. It's an understanding.
I actually made a video about this recently, talking about how you can have compassion
Mhm.
with boundaries.
Oh, I love that. I love the way compassion with boundaries.
Yeah.
Perfectly said. Thank you for
Thank you.
that. No, thank you for that. So tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got where you are today.
Well, I guess we've talked a little bit about it.
Mhm.
I had, repeated trauma starting from the time I was young. Grew up in a family system that pretty dysfunctional, addiction,
Mm.
uh, abuse, things like that going on. But I thought it was just my family. Like,
Ah.
you know, everyone else was like the families on TV, the sitcoms. And so I kept thinking I can fix them. It did not work out. And I was definitely made into the scapegoat. And then as I grew up and got, probably I would say more so in high school, and that's kind of where the like the hierarchies sort of really start to take shape. And I was didn't realize what was happening, but I was sort of being scapegoated in a lot of those situations as well, because they were so familiar to me. I was being attracted to what was familiar from my family. So again, trauma, 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 but oh, that's just these people in this small town. And once I get out of this town, it's all going to be okay. And again, it just kept going. I joined the army, and so happy to do it, but there was a lot of systemic trauma there.
Mhm.
To be clear, I did not see any battle. I did not fight in any wars. My
Mhm.
PTSD is not from fighting in a war, even though I did serve.
Mhm.
Uh, anyway, um, and then growing up, getting out of the army, growing up, trying to go back to school, having children young, going through a tumultuous divorce when the children were only 1 and 4,
Oh.
and the
Mhm.
divorce took 3 years. And there were so many things going on. But each time I thought, well, the next thing is where it's all going to get better.
Mhm.
And I was working in the field, working my way up, I was working full time, putting myself through school full time and raising my children full time.
Wow.
And I have no idea how I did that.
I know.
Not a clue. And so I guess I didn't, I mean, I did it well, I suppose. I'm going to give myself a little pat on the back. But there came a point where it all just got too overwhelming. I moved into a cul-de-sac, which had been my dream my whole life. That's where all the good people lived in the
Mhm.
sitcoms.
Right, right.
And everything was fine. It was going well. And then I would say about a year after I moved in there is when I got sick and not able to work anymore.
Yeah.
And that was rheumatoid arthritis.
Thank you. Okay. Hmm.
And so a lot of people don't believe in things like that, and they think that you're faking it so that you can get all the millions from the government. So that's my neighbors kind of turned on me. And to be clear, I truly wasn't doing anything wrong. I stay in my house and mind my own business, and my kids are good kids. There were several HOA meetings where I was the topic of conversation,
Fine.
and they repeatedly said that I did not deserve to live in a neighborhood as nice as them because they worked for a living and I was lazy and sponging off of the government.
I am so sorry.
Thank you. So I became a little afraid to go outside
Uh,
because every time I did, they'd say, "See, she's driving the car. She could go to work. See, she went to the grocery store. She can go to work." And little by little, it just chipped and chipped. And at the same time, with being very financially down, my family was able to come back in and get some control over my life again.
oh,
Yeah, I needed a lot of help. I needed help financially. I needed help with the kids. I needed help getting groceries. I needed help getting to medical appointments.
mhm.
And almost all of them used that as ways to prove that I've always been crazy and lazy and just want everybody to do everything for me.
Wow. So how old are you at this point?
I was about 30 when I got sick, and it just sort of progressed. It wasn't as bad at first. I would say by the time I was 32, I was barely leaving the house.
And there are the belief that certain diseases are caused by trauma, by the way.
Yes,
Agreed.
absolutely.
Rheumatoid
Absolutely.
arthritis, if you listen to Carol
Yes.
Dawson, she talks about rheumatoid arthritis as being one of the
Yes.
diseases. And there's been studies out there that connect that particular disease to trauma.
I fully agree. I absolutely have that same viewpoint. I
Mhm.
believe all autoimmune disorders,
Right.
um, fibromyalgia, all of it. Um, some people don't agree, but I definitely do. Like you said, there are many studies, and not only that, but lived experience,
Mhm.
and not just my own lived experience, but talking to other people.
Mhm.
And they'll say, "Well, yeah, I have this autoimmune disorder or whatever," and then they start talking about how no one supports them and their family is mean to them, and I'm thinking, ding ding ding,
Mhm.
there's your answer. Not
Mhm.
saying it's all in your head in any
Oh, it's
any
not in your head. It
not at
causes your
all.
body to fail, or no, not
Right,
fail.
exactly. No,
It's like,
truly, it
you know.
your brain your brain operates every single part of your body.
Mhm.
Period.
Mhm.
Period.
Mhm.
So it's not that you are faking and just, oh, if you take some antidepressants, all the pain will go away and you'll be all better. The
There-
damage is truly there in the body.
Correct. The body keeps a score.
The body very much keeps the score.
Right. So let me go back a little bit before we continue, if that's okay.
Yes.
Childhood. You don't have to give me details unless you want to. But what was it like to live in that household?
Scary.
Hmm.
It was scary.
Okay. And so you put your head into books and the need to save the family, to be the
I focused mostly on saving my mother.
okay.
Um, she was very emotionally abusive, but I felt that it was because she was being abused.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like if I could
Hmm.
fix her,
Hmm.
show her her worth, even though I didn't have those words, and
Hmm.
teach her that treating other people poorly wasn't okay, then
Hmm.
she would blossom and it would all be beautiful and we would be a happy family.
And then you'd feel safe.
Yes.
Okay. And as you know, especially you're a child, that you couldn't do that. There was nothing you could
I
have
could
done to
not.
have done that. Not because you aren't spectacular,
Yeah, I
but
am spectacular, but I could not fix them. So, just as every teenager does, I used to sit my parents down for talks to explain to them that the way they were not raising my siblings was going to result in what has happened. And they would hear me out, but then they'd laugh at me and tell me I thought I knew everything about parenting and things like that. So my siblings were sort of raised that they were allowed to do whatever they wanted.
Mhm.
I looked at them growing up as if they were like both the golden children. You know, I didn't have that word back then, but
Mhm.
that's what I looked at.
Mhm.
But even then, I didn't understand that the golden child is being abused too.
Mhm. Mhm.
One of the things that my brother often talked about was by the time he was a teenager, he didn't have to sneak out because nobody cared where he was.
Right. Mhm. There's neglect. Even
Yes.
if it looks like they're praising them in public or whatever it is, there's neglect.
Well, yeah, and there wasn't a whole lot of praise in public even really for us. We were bad kids. We were
Mhm.
bad kids that caused all the problems in the family.
Mhm. But you know you
So,
weren't right now looking
no,
back.
oh, of course, I know I was. I know that I wasn't.
I felt the need to say that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Other people need to hear that as
Mhm.
well
That's true.
because we carry that with us for so long. We don't get to have a fresh new brain at 18. Like
Mhm.
everybody says, well, you're an adult now. Do you think that at 18 we just get stamped reset and we get to start
No,
over?
that
All of
reset.
that our foundation is already built. It's
Mhm.
already built.
Mhm. And
And so
you know neurobiology more than I do, but the rewiring of the brain, it needs to happen to undo.
yes,
that.
and it is so difficult and takes
Mhm.
so much work and so much time and so much patience. And even when people want to do it, they may not have the time or energy or knowledge.
Mhm.
Or even who do they talk to get to the knowledge?
Mhm.
And that's just the reality of the world.
Right. So you have this um, family system, and then you meet someone when you're a teenager, or you have what happened when you were a teenager? You kind of said that you were, what was
Oh,
going
so I, yeah, I was a rebellious teenager. I was escaping my trauma. I was sneaking
on?
out all the time, jumping off the roof. I was on the second floor, so I would just jump
Mhm.
off and take the car and drive away, or someone would pick me up, and I would
Mhm.
go out partying with grown adults,
Mhm.
drinking alcohol, using drugs, things like that.
Mhm.
I was extremely lucky. At 19, I got in some trouble,
Mhm.
and that was enough to shake me awake and
Okay.
say, this is not the life that I want.
Mhm.
And I certainly don't do any kind of drugs or partying or anything like that since I was 19.
Mhm. Mhm. Sometimes we need that shake, and some of us
Yeah.
listen to it, some of us won't listen to it, but
Right. It just like that's why I say I was lucky. There wasn't anything that was extra special about me. There wasn't anything special about getting in trouble. This kind of thing happens to a lot of people. It's just for whatever reason with the I received a very light sentence. Just I had to go to outpatient rehab and to meetings.
Mhm.
I think I had to go like every day for a while, or at least several times a week. And I went into those rooms and started hearing my story. Not exactly, because I was not doing the type of drugs that I was going to parties and just, doing that sort of thing. But the background story was the same. The
Mhm.
background of trauma, the background of never feeling loved, the
Mhm.
background of never feeling included, the
Mhm.
background of feeling othered. And it was just like I would be listening to someone speak that had been, strung out on something like heroin and living on the streets and prostituting. And of course, I never did anything close to that, but I would completely relate to the rest of their story.
Mhm. That's a
It
very
there, but for the grace of God go I.
mhm. Yeah. And thank you for saying that and sharing that because uh, It does. It starts in trauma.
Absolutely. Trauma is the gateway drug.
Wow. Well put also.
I didn't make that up. I think I saw it somewhere else like years ago, but yes, I think trauma
Mm-hmm.
is the cause of a lot of it, all
Mm-hmm.
personality disorders.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I,
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's to me, that's a duh. And you, with being a
Mm-hmm.
licensed clinical social worker, you also are probably
I
thinking,
agree.
duh.
No, I agree with you. Okay, so you have your first serious relationship that winds up being a toxic relationship.
Yes, very tough. Well, I'd had some toxic relationships in high school, but they
Mm-hmm.
didn't last very long because I was, just as I did with my family, I was the one who called out the behavior and
Mm-hmm.
told them why it was wrong. And I'm able to, like, I don't do the name calling or like putting people down or anything like that. I just say you did A, B, and C, and it caused X, Y, and Z, and
Mm-hmm.
I have a right to be upset about it. And they said, no, you don't. And now we're going to make you look terrible.
And did you walk away then, or you stayed and let them?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I would normally give them a little bit of a chance to pull it together, but if they had, because everybody's having a hard time and it's going to be better soon.
But I want to say that two pieces. Okay, one, as you know, they're not going to change because you said it. Okay,
Right.
or understand it or hear it because again, that protective part of theirs is not going to let them.
Right.
But two, that was healthy though to realize it and walk away.
It was. And at the time, I was so torn because I kept saying, what I'm doing is healthy. I'm not allowing someone to treat me poorly.
Mhm.
And everyone around me was saying, no, you're the problem. You
Oh,
can't keep a relationship. You're
wow.
not willing to put up with normal relationship problems. And I was like, it's not normal when someone's cheating on you. It's not normal when someone's screaming obscenities in your face. These aren't things that you should have to put up with. But many of them were also in abusive relationships.
So, and they were in their own cognitive dissonance loop.
Exactly,
Pull you
exactly.
into it.
And I did get there eventually.
So,
I back
how did
then I would never.
So
But
explain this to me then. So you're actually quite healthy in your reaction in these relationships when you realize what they're doing is not okay. You may make your little, and I wish it worked again. Like, you're
and I would have a big reaction. No
okay.
need to worry. I
If
was
someone's cheating, you should have a big reaction. It's okay. That would make sense. I mean, it sounds like what you were saying and doing was right. It doesn't mean they were going to hear it, and it doesn't mean we confront people like that because they're not going to hear it.
right.
We could turn it back on you.
Exactly.
And there's all kinds of reasons why we don't say it, but what you're saying was true and real. And
Right.
so when did that cognitive dissonance come in future relationships? When did it change where that piece that walked away when it was time to walk away? Did you not walk away? Like, did it change?
Well, it changed. It took a long time, even with my ex-husband, who is now my current husband after 18 years apart.
Oh, we'll get to
And
that.
a story for another day, maybe.
Okay, fine.
Um, so he had addiction issues, and I gave it a couple shots. I gave it a lot more shots than I should have because of having children. And then I kind of came to a point where I was like, you know what? This is not what I want for my children. This is how I grew up.
Hmm.
I, even though my husband wasn't abusive to me physically,
Hmm.
the way I had grown up witnessing, um, he I saw things escalating. I saw things a way that I didn't like. He was emotionally abusive. He was sneaking alcohol and drugs while pretending to be sober, things like that.
Hmm.
So once I realized that he really wasn't going to pull it together, it was relatively easy to kind of walk away from even that marriage. But
Hmm.
then I spent the next, I don't know, 15 years. It's hard to remember the math,
Hmm.
just having short relationships that, once again, I was attracting and being attracted to familiarity.
Hmm.
But then when I would see, the mask slipped and
Hmm. Hmm.
give them a little chance and they didn't pull it back, okay, relationship over. And to be fair, some people didn't like me also. and they broke up with me,
Mhm.
to be fair.
Mhm.
But I felt like I had spent my entire life, my entire adult life, alone without a partner.
Mhm.
And I had been dreaming of a partner my whole life.
Mhm.
And I had been hearing everyone else's words that it was me, that it was my fault, that it was because I wouldn't put up with things, that I
Mhm.
expected them to tolerate every negative thing about me, but I wouldn't tolerate the negative things about them. And
Mhm.
I kept saying, but my negative stuff is that I have anxiety. Theirs is that they're hitting me or
Mhm.
screaming at me or cheating on me. It's
Mhm.
different.
Mhm.
But that was all in there, swimming around along with the loneliness.
Mhm.
And um, my daughter, my oldest, went to college.
Mhm.
Um, my son was 15 and he didn't really want to hang out with mom very much. But
Mhm.
that was one of the times that I had said, I'm pulling myself up by my bootstraps and I'm getting my life back. And I
Mhm.
started a little photography business, started it on a Facebook group for a free giveaway for a photography shoot.
Mhm.
And through that, I met a guy.
Mhm.
And all of this stuff is in my head. In the beginning, he was this great guy. And for the first few months, he was a good guy and he was saving the day for everyone around him.
Mhm.
And progressively it that started slipping away. But being that he was, I would say, the most abusive person I've ever had a relationship with in my life, um, I guess I was more addicted to it. And
Mhm.
also, and also, the loneliness, there was that part of me that thought, is this just another relationship that I'm no good at? Maybe if I'm nicer to him, maybe if I have an open relationship with him, maybe if I just don't bring up these problems.
I'm so sad because you were so much healthier in your response way back, but I guess eventually all those voices knocked you down. And
Truly, truly.
and because certainly this was a person that you would have walked away much sooner.
Absolutely. And that's why I tell people I always said I would never. I mean, I would have friends come to me and tell me about these abusive relationships, and I'd be like, what? Look at you. You're amazing. Get away from this person. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
You want to stay with me? Come on. I
Mm-hmm.
would never. But you can't say I would never, because I didn't spend my days sitting there thinking, oh no, I'm so scared. He's going to get me. I was sort of volleying back and forth from, is he the great love of my life? Or is he the worst thing that's ever happened to me?
Yeah,
And he played both roles.
of course. It's the intermittent, cycle
Yeah.
and that trauma bond, which I guess
Yes.
eventually even the ones with knowledge will get caught in if they have that other voice saying, maybe it's you. And
Yes. Yes. I mean, people, I mean, as you know, professionals are just people.
Mhm.
And a lot of us go into this field because we've struggled or we've had someone in our lives that struggled. And so I've seen it happen multiple times. And you just never know what someone's home life is like.
No, no one ever knows which is why I would say when you walk down the street, say hi to people because
Yes. Yes.
if connection is good for everybody.
So I used to teach suicide prevention course to mental health professionals. And one of the things that I used to talk about is that there have been several occurrences of people who were on their way to end their life.
Hmm.
And a stranger smiled at them and said hi, or said, hey, buddy, are you okay? And that changed their mind.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
It is so powerful. I wear shirts that say things on the back like you are worthy
I have
to the
one of those.
person behind me,
I have a
things like that.
sweatshirt. You are
And I
enough.
tried, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. It's a lot of the comments that I respond back to people is, You are not crazy. You are not alone. You are so
But
worthy.
it's huge. And not to get off subject for a second, but
Oh,
that's why
sure.
I kind of worry about this world of, texting and not connecting, that
Yes,
that we're going to lose that.
I agree. I fully agree because if you're feeling in that place, and I have been in that place, there have been several times in my life where I thought, I cannot go on,
Hmm.
and I have made plans.
Hmm.
Not currently, but in the past. So I've been in that place, and in that, when you're in that place, and not that it's anyone else's fault, but you don't get a text back, it just proves that nobody likes you.
Hmm.
If
Right.
someone yells at you when you're in that spot, it proves that they don't want you around.
The world
If they
looks
won't get, exactly.
different.
The world looks very, very different when you already feel like you don't belong in it.
And while we're there for a moment before we pass this, also, people have, the people who say that suicide is selfish, you're not being selfish.
It is absolutely not. First
It's
of all, most people are, they think they are doing everyone a favor.
correct.
It is their only way they think they can stop the pain for themselves and fix things for everyone else.
Right. And they're not thinking about how they're hurting you. They're thinking that,
Not at all. They think they're helping.
right.
Yes.
So I want people to know that because,
So important. So important.
okay, so you eventually get out of this relationship with this abusive gentleman that you stayed too long with.
Yes. I stayed way too long with. Um, and I once again grabbed those bootstraps and
Oh, so you still got out yourself. You still were the one to do it. You just,
okay, no. My daughter and my niece told
mhm,
me that if I that they would help me get out of the situation that I was in right then, because at that point I was in a completely different state. He had destroyed my car. I had no money. There was a lot going on. So my daughter and my niece were like, we will get you out of this situation, but if you ever go back to him, we won't talk to you anymore. And
tough
that
love.
broke me.
Yeah.
It broke me. I didn't think they even cared. And so I got on the bus they put me on.
Mhm.
And I had a period of time where things were very depressy and things like that. But
Well, because you
of,
were in a trauma bond and
of
of
course,
course
of
you're having
course.
that pull and whatever.
Right. But I would say within a year later,
Mhm.
under a year, I said, all right, pulling my bootstraps up again.
Mhm.
And I started going out. I went to a meetup group
Mhm.
and I met some really good friends and we were going and doing, bowling and things like that and singing karaoke. And I met some friends at karaoke, some frenemies at
Okay. Oh
karaoke
God.
and a
Okay.
guy.
Oh.
Now that guy was again a healthier exit once I saw that it was happening and it was not just situational. Let's be done here. Um, the friends hit me a little harder because I thought they were actually my friends
Right.
and they were trying to run a scam on me.
I'm sorry.
So, that kind of threw me. And right when that happened,
Mhm.
so did COVID.
Oh, okay.
And then in 2021, my mother died and left in her will that I was not her daughter.
Oh,
So
oh,
yeah,
I'm so
I'm
sorry.
I'm okay at this point.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate it, but I am okay because I recognize that that is her problem or
Hmm.
was her problem and I'm fabulous.
Okay.
She really missed out.
Yes, she did. I can see that already.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, but wow.
So yeah, so then
It
back
does
in the
speak,
house.
it does speak about who she is, though, to be writing that's what she wants you to live with the rest of your life. I mean, she
Yeah.
intentionally wrote that, so that's what you had the rest of your life.
She wrote more, but that yeah, she made sure she dug it home.
Okay. Wow.
But I know that I did way better than she did because I would never consider saying anything like that to my children. My children are 29 and 26. My
Mhm.
daughter calls me almost every single day.
Mhm.
My son does not call me as much,
But boys are
but
different.
right. I know that my son loves me and I
Mhm.
know that he has my back.
Mhm.
When I had a panic attack at the karaoke bar one night and I
Mhm.
called my son who was in college and I
Mhm.
said, "Hey, bud, I'm kind of freaking out here." And he says, "I'll be right there. Where are you?"
Oh, wow.
And he, unbeknownst to me, he left a date and came and picked me up and took me home to make sure I was safe. Now, that was not okay to have happened to him, just to be clear.
Mhm.
But my kids know that I would never, ever treat them in a way that they would feel like I would ever say any of the things like my mother said to me.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
So,
Oh. So now we're at
oh,
no, now we're at 2022. Is that what you said?
yeah, we'll go with 2022. My ex-husband and I are back together by this point. We
Mhm.
were back together in early of 2021.
Okay.
Um, and he had done a lot of reflecting and took accountability for everything that had happened in our first marriage and told me the truth about the affairs and things like that. And we talked about the things that happened over the 18 years, regarding the children and things like that. And again, once again, full accountability
Mhm.
and yes, there was some ownness on me.
Mhm.
But at the time, I needed to hear that from him in order to open that door.
Mhm.
And once I opened the door, I was then able to say to him, okay, I guess I wasn't perfect either,
Mhm. Mhm.
but, a little different, not kind of perfect. I certainly wasn't doing those sorts of things.
Mhm.
Um, but so we were back together. He actually was there when my mother died. My mother died, and then my stepfather a week later, both COVID.
Mhm.
So he was there for that. And before I saw the will, so for about 2 weeks, I laid on my bathroom floor in the fetal position, hysterically crying, convinced that everything about my mother and I's relationship was my fault.
Oh, wow. Oh, no.
And then I read the will.
Well, then that what she did was a gift.
It
Actually, a
was.
gift for you because
It
it's
absolutely was.
okay.
And don't get me wrong, when I read it, gut punch.
Mhm.
Gut punch and anger, but it picked me up off that floor.
Mhm.
But it didn't pull me out of the house. And it sort of got to the point where I became afraid of everything. My car sat so long, I gave it to my stepdaughter. She needed a car and I wasn't using it. So, I went ahead and gave that to her. And then just anytime I went anywhere, it was with my husband or with my daughter or, with someone that was safe. I have a best friend
That was my
who,
question. It was
yeah,
all
we actually,
it was about feeling safe.
yes. My best friend and I actually went to the Beyonce concert in DC. So it's so interesting to talk about because sometimes I can't leave my house and sometimes I can go to a Beyonce concert in DC.
Mhm.
But
Well, I
while at the Beyonce concert in DC, I had a panic attack
mhm.
and my best friend left with me. And no matter
Okay.
how many times I've attempted to apologize, she's like, "Are you kidding me?
She's a good friend.
I was ready to leave. Stop. You're fine. You've done nothing wrong."
But I want to point this out because we discussed it, but it was before we went on air. And that is, people think with agoraphobia that in the movies we were saying how people are
Yes,
either,
yes.
they're in their house or they're not, and they never leave. That they're stuck to
Right.
the door, they try to open it, they can't get out, and there's a spectrum. We talked about this
Yes.
that. So can we talk a little bit about that, and then
Yes,
where it
absolutely.
changed over, like when it started with you, and then when it changed, how it changed. Like sometimes it was more, or less.
Right, right.
Uh,
Yes, I've gone through periods and I mean, like you said, it's a spectrum. It runs the gambit. There are some people that can't even leave one single room of their home and then some people that can work full-time jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, there was a time in the beginning when, due to the physical issues as well,
Mm-hmm.
I often didn't leave my room.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I did leave my room, sometimes I could take my children to an amusement park.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when the people would say, see, she's lying. The agoraphobia is not real. And I'm like, yeah, I super love sitting around the house for 29 days of the month, or 13 of the 2 weeks, 13 days of 2 weeks, and going out once. That's super normal. But it's difficult for people to understand that it is not nearly always what you see on TV, that it's just a person that can never leave their house and the blinds are all closed and maybe even the lights are off and they're not answering the door. People come over to my house all the time. We have Thanksgiving at my house every year.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think started it? What do you think happened? What and what has helped? It sounds like, but I want you to tell that being with a safe person or feeling safe, it's a feeling of safety. Is that what it is, or what's happening?
So the way it started, I guess, was a snowball of things. Like we talked about, all the growing up in the family, going through all the things, all the different traumas. And it started in that neighborhood where I felt like, if I go outside, I'm going to be verbally attacked, or my children are going to be verbally attacked.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's not necessarily, at least for me, and for others that I've talked to, a fear of places
Mm-hmm.
or the outside. Although sometimes it is. It's more of a fear of people.
Mm-hmm.
It's what are they going to see me without my walker today and say that I'm faking my disabilities?
Mm-hmm.
I was private investigated once during a cut and dry workers' comp situation. And while, I mean, nothing came of their private investigation, I still knew it had happened. And then retroactively was terrified.
Mm-hmm.
And and as during in the beginning there, when I got sick and I'm in that neighborhood, I was also applying for SSDI. And I thought, what if they investigate you? What if there's private investigators right now? What if they see me without my walker? So it becomes very scary, like what people are going to assume or what they might do. It's not even just what they might assume, it's what they might do. I One of my fears has been that I will be taken, Liam Neeson style taken.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had to, one of the things that has worked with me, I also have OCD.
Mm-hmm.
So I get those OCD type loops.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that has worked for me with that specifically is when I get into those OCD loops, like I'm going to be taken. Let's walk it through. So you're here in the grocery store parking lot, the well lit grocery store parking lot in the daytime, with many many witnesses walking around, and you are of no interest to anyone. You're not some rich and famous person or a rich and famous person's child or anything like that. So walk it through. Why are they taking you?
Mm-hmm.
And then how do you think this is going to go down? What are they going to do? Are they just going to walk up and kick you into the car and take your car and drive away? Or are they going to put a bag over your head and pull you out? And as I start saying these things, I realize how ridiculous it sounds.
Okay.
And I
So,
start laughing.
okay, laughing.
And yeah, so that might not work for everyone, but it works for me, you know. And exposure, exposure. And it is slow going,
And
takes a
something
lot of patience.
and something you're
Okay.
doing yourself, or you're working with a therapist?
I'm both. I'm working with a therapist, but the exposure, I just talk to her about it.
Okay.
I do it on my own. And I initially started with only with safe people. The Beyonce concert was one of my exposure things. It did
Mm-hmm.
not go well, but that was okay. It was okay that it didn't go well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we get hung up on Well, see what happened? I went out and I did this thing and it went terribly. So I'm not going back out there again.
Right.
But I went home and I was like, you know what? That sucked. But we had a great road trip there. I
Mhm.
got to see part of a Beyonce concert. What are the chances? I mean, they're expensive. What are the chances you get to do that too often in your life? And it
Mhm.
was amazing. And I knew after leaving and being comfortable that all of those fears I had weren't anything I needed to worry about.
Mhm.
And having a friend like that made a huge difference. And that's such a rarity.
Your
I mean,
friend sounds amazing. And I've always said that it's really important to surround yourself by people who are loving, compassionate, non-judgmental, empathetic, understands trauma, understands you, willing to just sit by you, is key. And you don't need 1,000 of them. You need one.
no, just one. And she's wonderful. I mean, I had another time I had a panic attack at the karaoke bar. And now here we all are having drinks and singing karaoke, having a good time. And what was she doing? Standing around back with me beside another car, standing there for, I mean, at least a half hour, 45 minutes until I felt safe enough to go back around to where the people were.
Yeah,
It's a rare, rare gem find.
she is. And you've known her forever, or was this a,
No, I met her at the karaoke bar. She wasn't one of the frenemies.
well, obviously she wouldn't
Yeah.
be.
So I've only known her for, I guess, going on 10 years now.
Okay. She sounds amazing. So thank
She
goodness.
she really is. She really is.
Yeah, I think support is really key, if possible.
Truly. Truly. And so many people don't have support.
I
I,
know.
I spent most of my time without support or support that they said it was support, but it was really, a IOU ticket or something that they could hold over your head or do halfway and cause more problems and then tell me I was ungrateful. So, there was a lot of that. And I think a lot of other people go through exactly that. It's very rare because usually when all of this is going on, you've grown
Mhm.
up in a family that isn't very supportive. And they mental illness just proves you're the problem, like they've been saying all along. So why would they entertain your fake in your mind needs?
And they weren't capable.
Well, that too, absolutely, yes.
So let's just go back to the traitor within for a bit.
Okay.
Your traitor within. What would you say is your traitor within? And what messaging and modeling in childhood? Well, I know the trauma. So, and why is it a she? If you would give her, I don't want to,
I
what,
would say a she. I feel very she. All
okay.
of me and my parts feel very she.
Okay. So,
um
yeah.
So I would say kind of an OCD anxiety. I guess anxiety comes with OCD. So let's make my traitor within the OCD because the OCD is, of course, that's me as well, but the OCD is it's a courtroom battle that you can't win.
Mhm.
Um, gosh, it starts with, oh, did maybe something fall into that drink over there? No, no, it didn't. It didn't. But what if it did? What if you looked away for a minute and you didn't see it? And the thing that fell in there is poison. And if you drink that drink, you're not going to be here anymore, or you're going to get really sick and you're going to end up in the hospital. And then, and your logic is trying to say, no, no, none of that is going on. This is all OCD. But the other OCD part is like, but what if? What if? What if? What if? What if you are the specialist case of narcissism in the whole world? What if you are the most unique mental illness haver of all? And that's just why they can't figure it out. And that's why you're really a terrible person. And on and on and on and on and on. So that comes with, to help with that, is a lot of ignoring it. And I don't mean ignoring it like just being like, oh, go away, because that's going to make you think it even harder. But just sort of being like, that's a ridiculous OCD thought. Anyway,
Mhm.
that's it. That's it. That something might have fallen in my drink. Well, I know that's OCD. That's ridiculous. It might have fallen in my drink, but it's fine. And look at that. I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
Look at
And does
that.
that help it pass by doing that?
Now it's working better. But
Mm-hmm.
it took me years to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Years to get to the point. And still, even now, I, I can pull myself out of it much quicker. But it just depends. It depends on the thing. Like there are triggers. When I read the article about the wife whose husband let all those men do those horrible things, and the OCD loop hit so hard, the panic hit so hard, I was immediately standing looking for, oh my goodness, is that what's going to happen to me? How can I stop this? What can I do? What can I do? I immediately took my emergency medication because it went from 0 to a million right away. And it wasn't just what if this happens?
Mm-hmm.
It was what if it's already happening?
Mm-hmm.
What if it's already been happening and I didn't know about it? uh, what if this, what if that, what if there was millions and millions of what ifs. Like obviously I don't remember all of them right now, but it took a little while to come down from that and to just recognize, okay, that is not happening. That
Mm-hmm.
is not happening to you. It's okay. You are okay. You are safe. You are in your room. And again, a lot of grounding. I have to tell myself, you are safe. You are okay. You are protected. You are in your home. Look over there at this. Look over there at that. Oh, well, oh, look, there's my other thing that I have that I really like. There's a lot of that, and it's a lot of slow going, backsliding, consistency, a lot of consistency. Even when it doesn't work at first. It doesn't, and you think it'll never work. This is ridiculous. It won't work. This OCD thought, this intrusive thought, me going, that's ridiculous thought. That didn't stop it. I'm still ruminating. Try again next time. Try again next time, and next time, and next time, and fake it until you make it.
Mm-hmm.
I
And that's key.
promise you. Keep going even when it feels like it will never work.
Yeah, as a clinician, it's sometimes hard to teach that to people because you have to, it's going to hurt for a while or whatever it is.
It's
When you
yes,
start
it's
going
going to
down,
hurt bad.
and it's
Bad.
a struggle, and you're going to have to really work.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But at the end, it's hard for them to see the light. But at the
At the
end,
end, it is magic. It
magic.
is magic. I'm still agoraphobic.
Mm-hmm.
I still have OCD.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting in a library right now recording a podcast because I've had a social media platform for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I got a car at Christmas
Mm-hmm.
and I've been going on drives, and I started out driving just right around, just like not even around a whole block, just like a little bit. And
Mm-hmm.
then I had setbacks,
Mm-hmm.
and then I tried again. And then I got as far as the grocery store and to sit in the parking lot for a little while, doors locked.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had setbacks again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's little, it's a million little tiny steps. A lot of people expect that if you go outside or you go somewhere and you've white knuckled through the panic and anxiety a couple times, then you're cured.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not at all. And people need the grace to be able to say, hey, I did a great job.
Right.
Even though I couldn't stay longer, even though I was scared, I did a great job. And I'm going to do a great job next time too.
Yeah. And I think it's really important, as you mentioned, that even if you have a few steps back, it doesn't mean you're not going to be 3 steps forward tomorrow.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Even if you have to repeat steps over and over, you'll repeat through them quicker each time.
Mhm.
And that's okay. That's how rewiring our brains works.
Exactly. And you don't have to do it alone.
No, you don't have to do it alone. And the other thing to remember too is you don't have to be unafraid. You're doing it while you're afraid.
That's
That's
really,
okay.
yeah,
You're doing it while you're afraid. And if you can only get out of your bedroom and into the hallway, and then you go right back into your bedroom, well, big claps for you. That
right.
is amazing. And I am so proud of you.
Hmm.
Now rest because you deserve it.
Hmm. Exactly. So tell me a little bit about the work you're doing now.
Okay, so I consider myself to be a little more of kind of the first step on the social media mental health sort of situation where I'm saying these things really did happen. There are names for them. They really do have the consequences. It really wasn't your fault. You're really not crazy, and you're definitely not alone. And it's such an important step because, in my opinion, that's one of the first steps toward healing is recognizing that it's not all your fault and you're not crazy and you're not alone because so many of us have felt so alone. And like I said, we've got the most uniquest case of whatever that has
Mhm.
ever existed and no one could ever possibly understand. But we do. We understand each other, even if the stories aren't exactly the same. It's just unfortunate that often the people around us don't have the capacity or the interest in wanting to understand.
And that part, that community, that support of a community, knowing, like you said, that you're not alone and that you can speak to someone who understands, who's been there, who's inspiring because they're at the other end, that it can get better, is key in healing.
It truly is. It truly is. And seeing other people in the comments saying, me too,
Hmm.
so then it's not a person just seeing, oh, this one person thinks it or this one person is saying it. This is this one person saying it and a whole bunch of other people being like, hold on, wait, me too. I thought it was just me.
Hmm.
I had no idea.
Hmm.
I mean, I made a video about when I called social services on myself because I thought I was a bad mother. And my mother weaponized that. And never in a million years did I think I would get so many comments of people saying, are, are you serious? I also called social services on myself. I thought I was the only one. And I was like, I thought I was the only one.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, that's key. So it starts with self-awareness, but then,
Yeah, yeah. That's my own therapist has explained to me several times. I've had self awareness since I was a small child because it was abused into me.
Mhm.
So, of course, that's just an easy, what do you mean you don't analyze everything you do?
Mm.
So, but self awareness alone is
Mm.
not enough.
Mhm.
Self awareness is good and amazing and a key, but
Mhm.
it's not enough. You have to do the work that goes with it.
Mhm. And again, it doesn't have to be alone.
No, absolutely not. You
Recommend
absolutely
doing it alone.
I recommend absolutely if you have the means, work with a therapist.
Mhm.
Um, you want to have community as best you can. I know that is very difficult. That is such a big ask, especially for people with agoraphobia or any mental illness, to find community that is decent and not going to take advantage and that is going to be understanding of your limitations is so difficult. But those doors open a little more when you do seek out communities like the online communities or seeing a therapist and going to group therapy. These group therapy sessions are generally set up so that you're going to be with people that you're going to hear your story in with their details.
Mhm. Right. Yeah. So, what would you like our audience to take away from your story, from your journey, from your experience, from what you've learned today?
I think really that just that you are not alone. You
Hmm.
are not alone and you are not crazy.
Hmm.
And none of it was your fault.
Hmm.
It did really happen. It really had those effects on you. And there is hope on the other side.
Hmm. And if you would speak to your, I'll give you 15-year-old self, what would you say to her now?
Wow. If I could talk to my 15-year-old self, I
Hmm.
would tell her that everything was going to be okay.
Hmm.
She was going to go places she never even dreamed of,
Hmm.
and that the feelings she was feeling were not going to last forever.
Ah,
And I would also tell her to run far away from those people and don't ever look back.
yeah. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being so vulnerable. I really know, I feel very confident that your story and your journey and how you've helped yourself also will be very inspiring for many people out there. And
Well,
they will
thank
know
you. Thank you
what
so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I've enjoyed our conversation. I've enjoyed our conversation so much.
me too.
Thank you.
If you're interested in learning more about Your Traitor Within, grab the journal. Visit www.jessicaannpressler.com for more.